Hello, everyone. Jim Revelle here, the chaplain. I want to give you a little thought as we speed toward the end of the year, and we have the holidays coming up, which includes Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, and many other family celebrations through the end of the year. I want to share with you a thought on how gratitude can change you and change your brain. Mental health professionals have asked the question, how can I derive the greatest benefit or impact for someone struggling with kind of getting their arms around a healthy perspective and do so in a very short period of time? And I came across a study that, and in fact, there's many of these studies that really talk about thankfulness and gratefulness and how people who count their blessings or tend to take an assessment of the positive things in their life, they're much happier and they're less depressed. And so a study was done at the University of Indiana, and they took 300 adults, mostly college students, and all of them were seeking some kind of mental health assistance or help, coaching, counseling, therapy, and most of it was not extraordinarily traumatic, but they were dealing with depression, anxiety. And what this group did not know is they broke them up into three different study groups. The first group was instructed to write one letter of gratitude to one person for 3 consecutive weeks. So their assignment in therapy was simply write a letter of gratitude to a person 3 weeks in a row. The second group was asked to simply journal on a regular basis or a weekly basis their deepest thoughts and feelings about negative experiences. And then the third group simply did therapy as the other two groups did, but what we're asked to do, that third group was asked to do nothing else. Well, it's very interesting. They compared the ones who wrote about their negative experiences or the ones that did nothing with the group who wrote 3 simple letters of gratitude and how it impacted their lives. And they reported, and here's what the report studied, here's what it says, quote, significantly better mental health was experienced by those who wrote 3 simple letters of gratitude for the next 12 weeks after they wrote the letter. So it had what you called a residual effect. It had a flow that affected and impacted their life. And so gratitude, actually, they found that it impacted not simply their attitude, but it had an actual an effect neurologically on their brains. So let me share with you some takeaways from this study. The first thing they found is that gratitude, what they said, unshackles you from toxic emotions. And what they found is they went through this whole list is that by writing a letter, what happens by writing a letter and by putting it down on paper, it actually causes you to shift away from toxic emotions, things like resentment, envy, frustration, anger, and these kinds of emotions. And it reroutes your life to a much healthier flow of thinking. And so it's quite an astonishing thing to simply sit down and to write a letter to someone regarding what you're thankful for. Now, here was the second interesting thing, and I thought this was intriguing because as I share this, you might say, well, do I even want to send a letter like that to someone? I mean, what would I do? The people weren't even required to send the letters out. So the second thing they learned, gratitude helps even if you don't send the letter to the person. In fact, in only 23% of those who wrote the gratitude letters, less than 1 in 4 actually sent it out. But they found that the act of simply writing down thoughts that are thankful absolutely had a stunning effect in how it impacted them. Now think about that. It changed how they thought. It moved them away from toxic emotions, and it rippled out. Even though they didn't even send the letter, it affected them for up to 3 months after the experience. So I think that's quite an intriguing thing. The last thing that I thought was interesting, because they actually did an MRI study of each participant's brains at the beginning of the exercise and then periodically through the study. And the third thing they discovered is gratitude has lasting effects on your brain. And they talked about the prefrontal cortex. And they found that it actually created like new pathways in their brain. So like new highways, new ways of thinking. And so here's what the front part of your brain, which is the last part of your brain that really develops, as you're growing as a child into adulthood. This is where you get your ability to focus. This is how you manage your emotions. This is how you take ideas from the past and present and you sort of congeal them or fit them together to plan the future and to make positive decisions. It's the area where your personality, who you are as a person, is actually shaped through that front part of your brain. Writing those letters, writing a letter of gratefulness, even if it wasn't sent, helped to actually create new freeways. It's like the infrastructure bill. New roadways are being built in the middle of your mind so that you can become even a healthier person. So I would challenge you, getting you ready for Thanksgiving and through the end of the year. If you've never written a gratitude letter before, why don't you go ahead and write it? I can recall when I had just finished high school, I was thinking back over a teacher I had in 8th grade. And I remember I sat down and I wrote a letter of thanks for how she influenced me. I don't know what inspired me to do that, but she wrote me back. And it was such a shockingly powerful impact, a blessing to her. But I didn't realize how much it positively affected me. So I give you a challenge. Even if you don't send a letter, sit down and write something. Write it out. Put your thoughts of thankfulness down on paper. And what you're going to find is a lessening of toxic emotions, a more buoyant spirit, and you won't even know this, but new things will be happening in the front part of your brain. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. If you need anything, reach out to me. My number is 877-322-CHAP. That's 877-322-2724, and I would love to chat with you. Have a great day. Thanks.